Welcome to the next project. Got another Strat going on the bench. It's full of dents and dings and all sorts of wear. It's got it. Fret wear? It's got it. We got to get rid of it. It's got some stickers. Got to get rid of those too. Got to make this thing almost like new, or at least play like new. Maybe better than new, actually. We can do it. We have the technology. Let's start the next project. Oh boy, here we go again. Another Strat on the bench. Where do they all come from? They're like weeds. You pull one, and two more pop up. We've got this 89 Strat Plus in for a little bit of work. It needs frets pretty bad. These frets are plateaued, I call them. They've been leveled once, twice, thrice, maybe. I really don't know. But they are flat tops. I'm guessing the last time whoever worked on it leveled them all. They're flat from E to E and from 1 to 22. They didn't really do any crowning that I can find. And then they do have divots worn in them as well, so it needs a lot of work. Gently removed a couple decals, and fortunately there was no fading of the paint, so we're really lucky there. Just getting ready to take it apart and clean it up. I'm always trying to be organized, and it doesn't always work, but I try. Here I put little labels on all the tuners so I can put them right back where they belong or where they came from, and taking off the Fender Wilkinson, I guess depending on who you talk to, it's either a roller nut or a locking nut, which doesn't really lock down, not like a Floyd Rose style. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Pulling out the frets, I used a couple different tools, a little pair of wire nips to get things started, then a pair of fast cap fret pullers, which are just a fine, sharp tip pair of pliers. Work pretty good. The neck is off the guitar, the frets are out of the neck. I loosened the truss rod, got it to a neutral position, put a notch straight edge and then also a straight edge on it. And the neck was showing just a little curve yet, forward bow. And this neck, when it was in the guitar, was looking like it's starting to show some creep or some hinge or some early onset ski jump happening. Not ideal, but also not too unexpected for a guitar neck from '89. Put it upside down, clamped it to my bench right in the center so the neck would be bowing back, and left it for a week. I came back to it this morning, took the clamp off, returned the truss rod to neutral, zero, no tension area, and the neck is very flat now. So we have helped the neck relax back to a normal straight position. However, I think we're still going to have to address the potential for ski jump, creep, or hinge at about this point of the neck. So I'm going to use a sanding beam, reintroduce the 9.5 radius to this fingerboard, and also take away more material up here between the 12th and the 22nd to introduce some fall away. So a little bit here, maybe even less off the frets to keep them as intact as possible. Let's get back to it and continue the next project. checking all the fret slots for depth and going through and rechecking and recutting them where needed, and then rechecking and getting them so the new fret tang will fit all the way down in there without holding the fret out anywhere. Got it all sanded out. It's looking pretty good. Oh, a little bit of stain. Now here's where it got tricky. I needed to try and match the natural patina on the face of the headstock because I did not sand that away. So I had to mix up a couple, what did I use, 3 different trans tint dyes to get something that was pretty close. And I have to keep in mind that whatever the finish coat I put on it will change the color a little bit too. So juggling, always juggling. Okay, so we're changing the finish on this neck. We're getting away from the factory lacquer. I know that's going to make some purists scream and call me all sorts of nasty names. The owner wanted something that's durable. He wants to be able to play this guitar and not worry about it. It's not a museum piece for him. It's a working guitar that he does really like. So we decided to go with super glue on the fingerboard side, which is going to be kind of an impervious coating. It's going to take wear extremely well. It's not going to come off. And in fact, the old lacquer was still in pretty good shape. The frets were trashed, but the lacquer was still holding up pretty well. So I put on 6 really light, thin coats of CA, giving about a minute in between coats. After about the 6th coat, I did hit it with, I think I used 400 grit paper just to knock down any little fuzzies or nibs or whatever. And then repeat the process over and over and over. About every 6th coat, I'd do a quick, really light sanding, get rid of the applicator strokes and any raised grain or anything that there would be. And now to give any remaining purists a final heart attack, we're going with True Oil on the back of the neck, even the little flare where the headstock meets the neck and the back of the headstock as well. I had originally tried just to sand the back of the neck, leaving the back of the headstock natural patina, but I couldn't get the color to match perfectly. So this way, my breaking points are the sides of the headstock, ended up hiding really, really well. This True Oil finish looks amazing on here. The neck actually looks better now than when it came to me. I mean, obviously, yeah, all the dents are gone, but just the way the wood responded to the stain, yeah, it's pretty beautiful. Birds are chirping. It's a beautiful and very hot and muggy day. The 89 Strat Plus neck has been resurfaced on the front, some fall away, sanded in just a little bit. The back of the neck, the nicks, cuts, dings, dents, various abuse has been sanded out. The radius has been smoothed and corrected and straightened. It feels really good, looks really good. I think 10 coats, thin scrub on, scrub off coats of True Oil on the back. What is it, 24? Coats of CA on the front. This needs a very light level sanding now, and then we're ready to press frets in. So that's good, we're getting really close. Using Just Car wire that I purchased from Philadelphia Luthier Supply. This is 47104, 9.5 inch radius. I checked the radius on this and it is over radiused by maybe 1/2 inch radius. So instead of this being truly 9.5, it might be like a 9-inch radius, which is good. It's gonna be close enough. That'll probably end up leaving about 2/1000ths gap before pressed in. So once it's pressed in and all mashed good, we should be spot on. Let's continue the next project. If you've seen some of my videos where I do the CA finish on fingerboards before, this one's a little bit different. The overall process is pretty much the same. I'm doing 6 coats sand, 6 coats sand, 6 coats sand. When I get to the final coat, I just leave it alone. However, I didn't polish the fretboard this time. I did start out with 1000 grit paper, 1500, 2000, and finished with 3000 grit sandpaper, which brought it to kind of a dull shine, which is pretty nice. We're leaving it at that because this is not a brand new guitar. We want it to kind of all look like it goes together. Now we're moving on to prepping the fret wire for the board. I've already got the fret slots recut for depth. That's all good. Got the Jescar fret wire that is pre-cut. It's over length. It's about a 9-inch radius. It is 9.5-inch wire, but it's at about a 9-inch radius, which is just barely tighter than the radius of the board. Getting them cut to length and the tang nipped back just a little bit. There are always things I forget to do when I'm having a party. Well, in this case, I forgot to invite anybody over, so I partied alone. As I started this, it does have the CA finish on top, and I'm using medium viscosity CA in the fret slots. As I was going, I was like, I forgot to smear a light coat of wax over the rest of the fingerboard. And that's just to keep any CA that squeezes out of the fret slots from sticking to the board. And it doesn't matter if it's a lacquer board or a rosewood board or any other kind of board. Just put a little bit of like paste wax, rub it on the fingerboard if you're using super glue in the slots, and it's a lot easier to clean up. So anyway, jumping way ahead. The clock is running. I'm an hour and about 15 minutes in already. We've got a lot of work done. I'm really fast at taping. Can't believe how quick I am there. Got it all cut back. I'm using a couple different files, and if you saw a recent video I did testing out a bunch of different diamond fret files, I'm trying all of them, and it really came down to using two primarily on this job. The Fret Guru Diamond Dagger 2.0 and the Stu Mac original Z file. I did try to use the Music Nomad S file, and it would do nothing for me in this job. It really needs a job where the frets are leveled super wide or worn out. After all the filing was done, I did hit it with a green Scotch-Brite pad, and here I'm hitting it with probably 1,000 grit, maybe 1,500 grit sandpaper going side to side. Direction bends would go, not length of the neck where the sanding beam traveled. So hitting the ends, which have already been rounded over, we've seen that, and we're on to getting ready to polish. And I do use Mother's Mag polish. A little bit of this goes a long ways. I think I've had that little container for like 6 years or so. So it doesn't take much. Using a little wool pad on the end of a Dremel, and some people say this destroys frets. I don't know what they're doing. I have never destroyed a fret. I can make them really shiny. I guess maybe if that's what they mean by destroying frets, then yes, I've destroyed frets by making them look good. Rumor on the street is this will overheat the frets, and that's bad. I can touch the frets when I'm done polishing them. They're not hot, so I don't know if people are trying to grind the frets smooth with the polishing pad or what. I don't know. I don't know how people do things. The way I do it, it just makes them shiny. And I kind of like shiny. That's shiny. Okay, I'm doing something else a little bit different here. I'm using silly putty in the fret slots. No, I'm kidding. This is not silly putty. I'm being silly. It is putty, but it's not silly putty. This is, what is the name of it? It's rock hard wood putty. I want to say Howard's rock hard wood. I'm going to put a graphic up here. There it is. It's that stuff. A little bit of this stuff goes a long ways too. You just mix it with water. It gives you about 5 or 10 minutes to work with it. Then it gets hard. Once everything had dried out, I'm hitting it with a final coat of True Oil just to seal in that rock hard wood putty that I put in the end of the fret slots, which is pretty much maple color. Looked good. And just to make the damn thing look pretty. Ooh, that is pretty. I like it. I wish that was mine. Maybe someday. There's always a little more to do, and this guitar had some kind of scratchy pots, and the switch was popping and clicking a bit. I don't know how often it had been used due to the fret wear, so I just was taking it apart, cleaning it all up, kind of doing some investigation here too, because I've never seen inside of one of these. And that was pretty cool. That is a hip shot. Oh, I forgot what it's called now. It's a springy thingy. It's pretty cool. I'll put a list of what it... Oh, there it is. That's what it's called. It's also got Fender lace sensor pickups in it. And these are gold. And the decals fell off, so I did glue the decals back onto the bottom of the pickups. I got a ground wire that the factory didn't actually screw into the shielding that is underneath the paint. They just screwed it through the paint. Using some electronics cleaner, sprayed on all the contacts on the switch and in the pots, cleaning it all up. Make it clean. Make it better than new. Well, as good as new. Okay, we're moving on to fixing some stripped out strap buttonholes. This poor guitar had the original hole, which I just plugged there, and apparently got so stripped out, someone at one point in time drilled another hole and just screwed in next to it, 3/8 of an inch away. Well, I didn't have any dowels right size, so I made my own. Took a piece of steel and a piece of maple, chucked up the piece of maple in my drill and ran it through the hole that I drilled in the steel. Made myself a custom quick dowel. Yes, you can do that too. Putting on new strap locks, and these match the strap locks on his other guitars, so you can use one strap and just jump from guitar to guitar. That works. As I was cleaning things up, I realized the pickups were just kind of rattling around in there. And it's got the old surgical tubing in it, which I think a couple of them had been replaced once upon a time. The dark brown and the medium brown pieces were both pretty hard and kind of shrunken. So I pulled out some newer surgical tubing that I have and cut new rubber springs. Cleaning up as I go just to get all the schmutz and dirt and everything else out of there. And this is a puller, what do they call it? A Strat knob puller, something like that. Can never find it when I need it, but I found it this time. So that's good. I was able to use it. Usually I find it when I don't need it. But anyway, and I got it all screwed back together. It's ready to go back in the guitar. Let's move ahead. We're ready to start putting this back together, and I have already taken the Fender Wilkinson version 2, I think this is, a roller nut or double roller nut, or there's little rollers up on the fingerboard end of it that the strings go over and toward the bridge. There's another roller at the back end of it that the strings go down underneath to hold the strings down so you don't need string trees on this particular style setup. These, from what I understand, did come with spacers that go like shims, metal shims that go underneath the nut. This had nothing in it because these frets were plateaued. They were leveled and flattened, and so it was really low, no shims. So where do I start? I don't really know. However, I am using a Fret Guru little multi-tool of sorts, and it has this nice little tip on it that's 10 thousandths, like a high E string thickness. And you can drop that right into a fret slot and bridge it from the fret slot to your second fret. With my glasses on, I could see. And then you can stick a feeler gauge under it at the first fret and determine what your string height would be from nut to second fret, leaving the gap at the first. So I have some shims cut that I made out of feeler gauges. So now I'm ready to put this on the guitar, string it up. Then I can come back and fine tune my string height, my action height at the first fret. So really string height at the first fret. I don't know if anybody's used split shims to prop one side up more than the other or not, but we may end up doing that. I don't know yet. Let's find out as we continue the next project. It always helps when you turn the microphone on. We are done with this 89 Strat Plus guitar that needed a lot of neck work and new frets. A few other things too. We took some stickers off, cleaned it up a little bit, and blew the cobwebs out of it. It's ready to go back to the owner now. But we had to take the neck off, pull the frets, kind of flatten the neck out because it was getting a bit of bow in it. So I had that clamped to the bench for a while, as we've seen in the video. It also had some early onset old-time guitar neck ski jump starting. So when the frets were out, we got that first re-radius, or cleaned up the radius, and then added or removed some ski jump, added some fall away, whatever you want to say. The neck was repaired on the back then also, had a lot of nicks and dings, dents in it. Got that all sanded out straight and true. Cleaned up, restained to match the factory patinaed headstock as close as possible. The back is now coated in True Oil. It's got 12 or 14 coats. I don't know. I'd have to try and figure that out. Fingerboard is coated with super glue, or CA. I can never say it. Cyanacrylate. CA. Super glue. 24 coats on there? Could be. I don't remember now. Cleaned up, sanded to 3,000, 7,000. I don't know. Whatever it said in the video earlier. That's what I got. Not to a high gloss, though. I didn't want this vintage guitar rolling out looking like it's got a fake neck stuck on it from somewhere else. So we just made it look like it belongs. New stainless frets pressed in and glued in, actually. Used medium viscosity CA for that. Made a 3/1000 of an inch thick shim, metal shim, to go underneath the nut. Got the intonation all set up using a Peterson strobe tuner, which is an old tool, but it's new to me. And it's looking really good. It should play really good. I think the owner's going to be thrilled with it. Well, probably, because I've had it for almost a month now, so he's going to be thrilled just to get it back. Thank you for sticking with me through this project. I greatly appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up to say you like this kind of content. I know people want me to do more mods and builds and things, and that's coming. I'm getting right back to it. Got to do some of this paying job stuff once in a while. Ring the bell, or smash the bell, or crack the bell, or whack the bell for future notifications, because I'm trying to get content out as quickly as possible. I have a day job though. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'd greatly appreciate that. That helps the channel grow, and we got a great family of people hanging out through these projects. I greatly appreciate all of you watching. What else? Leave comments. If you have a question, please post it, and I will try to help if I can. Maybe somebody else will have a better answer than me. That's cool too. So until next time, take care of yourself and those around you. Bye.